with the track. So with the delay of the track project, our first football game, just a reminder, will be held at Earlham this Friday. The bleachers are in process of being installed. The visitor bleachers are complete. The home bleachers are about 90% completed. So they should be wrapping that up tomorrow. The resurfacing of the track with the rain that we had over the weekend, this Monday has pushed it back a week. And just a reminder, like when the bleacher, people are here from Texas, and the track person is based in New York. They're doing some work in Cleveland, so we do have to mind the weather and make sure that it's worth their time to come here and that the weather is going to cooperate, which hasn't happened. But we are on schedule for them to be here Monday, so that has pushed us back another week. But we we'll reschedule the August 31st JV game, but we're anticipating to be ready for the September 4th home football game. So that is the goal. With the track, there was a section of the fence that had to be taken out that needs to be replaced. After we received the first quote, it came in really high. We've received an additional quote, and just a reminder that this is also includes the fencing at the elementary. It would be on the playground side where softball is. So we'll be completing those two projects at the same time.
That section separates the track from the stands, right?
Yeah, so the curb came out a little bit further, so they had to remove a section of fence, and it needs to be moved out, so they need to put some new posts and kind of reroute that section. It's not the whole fence, it's just a section of it.
Will that, or not? Sorry, will that keep, how will we keep people back for the 4th? Or is that planning to be done?
No, yeah, we plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to be
I'm
ready
sorry,
for that.
if we were just gonna be quoting, I thought that would be much more.
No. The first quote was 30,000, the second quote was 8,900.
Huge difference for two quotes.
But that was, and I've explained to the elementary, because we had that planned as part of the project, but we get better pricing for them to do both, to be on site and complete both, than to split them into two projects. And so we wanted to have that elementary fence up this summer, but it's, like I said, correlated with the high school track, but we'll get both of those finished. So at the high school gym, they started grouting today. They did a couple of test sections on the north side. But then we have asked for them, instead of continuing on the north side, that they move to the west side, because we want to get those walls closed up and the roof extended, because that's where it's leaking when it rains. So we want that part to be taken care of first, and then work our way around. So I have a meeting tomorrow with the construction foreman and the architect. And so we need to determine how long the concrete needs to cure before we can drill the anchors into it. And then we should have a delivery date on the steel as well. So any questions on construction updates?
No, it's just continually ongoing.
It is.
It seems like the longest project ever. Yeah, but it's what it is.
But I want to thank Mr. Halloran, the athletic director, and it's hectic. We didn't want to have to move our first home football game, and we definitely didn't want to move it out of town. I'm grateful for Earlham for allowing us to play. We are using the band trailers to haul everything over there, this week. They, did allow us to have a scrimmage game, last Friday, so the kids would, have a chance to, so the game wouldn't be the first time they ever stepped foot on the field, and so, unfortunate, but, it has been, a fun experience, I think, for the students, and I appreciate all of his work and helping make that happen, so. We have partnered with Central Indiana Education Center. You're familiar with East Central Education Center, which is what we normally work with. Central is out of Indianapolis, but we've partnered with them in online academy, and we have started enrolling students in our online program. We've had a few students with unique circumstances, but they really wanted to remain Northeastern students. So that's really where this started. We enrolled another student this morning. But we thought we would pilot it, but then they're just, like I said, people have different circumstances, and it's worked out for a few students. So we're now to the point that we're ready to expand and get it out there to the public. So if anybody has any ideas for the name, what they want to call it. So, so the questions, they still are Northeastern students. This isn't leaving Northeastern and going to an online school. And so it really is a partnership with the family, with Northeastern, and with Indiana Online. And that will be attendance requirements, making sure students are the same as if they were an in-person student. So it does give us a lot of flexibility. There may be students that want an entirely online program. There may be students that want hybrid. They may want to do some of their classes online, but then maybe they have a career pathway and they want to do part of their time in the building. So hybrid is an option. There are career pathways available for students that choose an all online option, but we're in the process of creating some handbooks to go along with that. And so I just wanted you all to be aware. I wanted the public to be aware. And so you can anticipate hearing more about it and seeing some agenda items on future board meetings.
It's good. I think it's good for our school system. I think it's good for our students that want to remain with us, and everybody's unique, so it's a good thing.
And one of the things I would mention with the online portion, even if a student decides to do that, they want to go completely online, there are still options for live instruction. And so it looks very much like a class schedule would look. And so maybe I'm really good in social studies and I like history, and I don't think I need live teacher instruction, but maybe algebra is not my strong suit and I really want some extra support. They'll have a class schedule. If I want live instruction on algebra, here are the times that's available. They can log in, there's a teacher teaching. So that's really one of the differences versus you're familiar with Edgenuity classes that some students have been able to do in the past, where it's really you work on at your own pace through those.
So the teacher teaching that they log into isn't a Northeastern teacher?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's where the partnership comes in.
right, okay, that makes sense.
But we still value that live instruction, and we want, and again, there's unique circumstances, but we would say here, you're all on your own. Here's your classes, and we want them to have the support of teachers. But we also want them to have the support from Northeastern.
And there's accountability if they're struggling or not meeting the requirements too.
Yes. Mhm. So like with Indiana Online, if a student is not logging in, they're not completing their coursework, they're not attending, for attendance, and we say, this isn't working, you need to come back to in-person, Indiana Online is not going to say, no, you can stay with us. So they wouldn't have that option.
That could be a good motivator.
So, but overall, it's been the first good 2 days back, and we're excited to be back in school. I just wanted to remind the board, we do need to start the application process to appoint a new board member at the end of the current term. I would suggest not waiting. When December tends to be a busy time, that appointment would occur in January, but we really can start with applications at any time. So I don't know if you have an application or questions that you've used in the past. If you do, I have some samples that I've used in the past, if you need that, but I would suggest we start accepting applications, or at least advertising it on the website, and we can start those interviews, and that way you're not gonna feel as rushed. So you can just let me know.
Do we have an application that we've used in the past? I don't know.
I would assume so, I just do not know where that would be sent out.
I don't either.
Maybe, what did you guys both, did
I
you
don't
complete,
remember.
or did you just write a letter of interest?
That might have been,
I bet it was.
possibly.
You just got nominated and you showed up?
I interviewed, you didn't interview?
He
I
interviewed.
interviewed, but there was no written anything.
I think it was just a
was,
letter of interest.
It was a call and an email.
Or submit a resume, maybe. If that's
Which
what
I
it's
guess
for, don't know.
we don't fill out applications when we run. We just sign our names and get signatures.
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe it's just a call out for a letter of interest.
You could do a letter of interest, you can do a job form, then if you're interested, put your name.
Mhm.
Maybe we could call back.
We're going to 2 interviews, maybe 3. I'm just kidding.
That's why I said start early.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think if we can get it moving, then even invite them to be, if someone does have interest, to come to September, see how our board is working. And then we can set some interviews up. I would like to have it, just my opinion, have it done by November. So then as holidays are coming in, it is not, it's done, they're ready to start January. So that would be my idea.
I agree.
So I think we're okay with advertising and asking for letters of interest.
All right, we're ready for community comments.
All right, do we have any community comments out there?
Cool.
Come on, Leon. Okay, going once, going twice. All right, no community comments tonight. All right, next up is our consent items. So in the consent items, we have the approval and signing of our July 15th regular board meeting and executive session meeting that followed. Approval of claims, salary schedule updates, fundraisers, field trips. We also have out of state on there, and then all new personnel and employees that have resigned. So in that consent area, does anybody have any questions? Want to talk about anything?
What was with the new bus rates? Where did they come from? Like, what was the comparison? How big was the hike or the change?
There's not really a change, it's just more to get processes in place. We didn't, I think the only change is really like the vocational route. because those are usually very short routes, versus, you know, or consider it an AM or PM route. We're trying to just clean up our processes and have like, okay, this is what it's called, this is the pay amount. So, but a vocational route, for example, the driver runs the regular route in the morning, but then they're already here. The kids get on the bus and they drive them to vocational. And it's like a 15-minute route.
So do they go back and pick up the kids too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had a question on personnel. What does it mean on Christy Anderson, transferring from part-time workplace specialist to full-time? What is that transition?
Okay, I think I sent that out to you last week.
Oh, I missed that.
No, that's fine. So she taught a class for one period.
Oh, okay.
There were only 4 students signed up for the class this time, so
I
it
did
was, yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
So it's not, enough to hold the class. So basically, we were releasing her from her nursing duty for one class period to teach a class, and now we don't need to do that,
I see.
since we're not offering that classes. So she had 2 contracts, a 1-period teaching contract and then the nursing contract. So we have to separate that, and then she'll be on a full-time nursing contract.
I see. Okay.
Motion to accept the consent items.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to approve the consent items, seconded by Mr. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain from the personnel for the hire of Ms. Baker. So I abstain from those, please. All right, next up is new business, and we have the communities and schools MOU.
So this is just our annual MOU with communities and schools. I did meet with them, met with Mr. Markward. There was a price increase. The communities and schools coordinators at the middle school and elementary school are used very regularly. At the high school, not as much. So we looked at to try to make it a little more cost effective. We really didn't want to have to reduce hours. We've had a lot of turnover in the high school position. We were gonna have to hire somebody new again. So we have decided to keep the full-time hours for middle school and high school, or for middle school and elementary, and not keep that position at the high school level. With that being said, they know that if there truly is a high school student that is in need, one of the other coordinators could work with that student, but we just don't have a high enough caseload in high school to support that person. Between our school counselors and Centerstone, there's lots of supports available, so I would recommend the approval of the communities and schools MOU for the 26-27 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the communities and schools MOU.
I'll second. Motion made by Ms. Bartram to approve the communities and school MOU, seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Girls Inc. MOU.
Okay, so next up is the Girls Inc. MOU. And just for reference, board policy 2414, we are required to have reproductive health and family planning and human sexuality instruction. And our partnership, with Girls Inc. helps, fulfill that requirement. So, in addition to the MOU, I did put on there just, so an overview, of what each grade level, entails. And I would add that, there is a consent form. And so we are required to offer it, but parents are not required, to have their child, participate. So we do a consent form that's sent out, prior to this. So I would ask for approval for the MOU with Girls Inc. for the 26-27 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the Girls Inc. MOU for 26-27 school year.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to approve the Girls Inc. MOU, seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Next up, calendar amendment.
Okay, so prior to, the start of school, we received a notification from the DOE that they're requiring all schools to have at least 5 makeup days built into the calendar. We think this is probably, from the number of waivers that, schools had to apply for after the winter we had, because we didn't have to do that because we had e-learning days. But not all schools did. Most in our area have made that change, since that time. So originally on the agenda, it was just a calendar amendment, to include the 5 makeup days. Since then, we were closed the first 3 days of school, so we're still waiting to hear back from the DOE whether we will qualify for a waiver. So before you have the 27-28 school calendar, which is just adding the 5 makeup days, because we did do a 2-year calendar. And then you have 2 versions of the 26-27 school calendar. One version is if we get a waiver, and the other version is if we do not get a waiver. So I'm asking for approval of all 3, with knowing that we'll go with whatever option, depending on the state waiver. But it does impact, some days even this first semester. So I don't, want to wait too long. My fear is we'll hear something in a week and then we don't have another board meeting until September. And we want to be able to notify our staff and families of any changes as they happen.
I make a motion to approve the calendars. And allow.
I'll second.
If that decision didn't do it, we have to waiver.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to approve the calendar amendment of all 3 as is needed. We are updated about the waivers. Seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor? Next up is permission to advertise the 2027 budgets.
It's that time of year, so I am asking for permission to advertise the 2027 budget.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to approve the advertising of the 2027 budget. Seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
And then crisis plan.
Okay, so this is just an annual update to the crisis plan. Just to note, this is not a document that we share publicly because it is our safety plan. We did have an audit from the Department of Homeland Security right before school was out. So we did work with them for just some wording and some updates. So those have been included as well as any changes in names and those kind of things.
Questions on the crisis plan? Motion.
I make a motion to accept the crisis plan. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Smith to approve the crisis plan, seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. IU East MOU.
Okay, this is just our annual MOU, and this is for, to be able to offer college credit educational courses to qualified high school students.
I'll make a motion to approve the IU East MOU.
Second.
Oh, that was close. Motion made by Ms. Bartram to approve the IU East MOU, seconded by Mr. Van Dyke. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, it says G latchkey.
Yes. So this is just an update to the latchkey handbook. We do offer morning latchkey at the preschool. And then our before school and after school latchkey program that is held at the elementary, we work in correlation with YMCA. They run that program. Just with the changing of our start times, there were a few adjustments in there, and it's just the annual update.
Are they staffed? I mean, how are they doing?
They're still looking for staff. They were able to start, but they have like some college kids that helped start that are going, so we're still looking, but they do have a new like lead person at the elementary, and so that has been helpful.
I reached out recently to Ms. Hollis about using work-based learning as part of that, but
We do have two high school students with the change in the time. We do have one high school student that is working in the morning, and we do have one student that's working in the afternoon. And I've already given those names to the work-based learning board to make sure they're counted.
now I'm gonna call her tomorrow. All right. Any questions on latchkey handbook?
I'll let you take the last one.
I make a
Do
motion
we
to
need approval on that?
accept the latchkey handbook.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Smith to approve the 26-27 latchkey handbook, seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
Last up on new business is the approval of the 25-26 school year evaluation of our superintendent, Ms. O'Brien. Any questions on that?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to approve the superintendent's 25-26 evaluation, seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
So that concludes our new business. Next up is policy review update. The first one listed is the volume 37, number 2, April 2025. It was a second reading. How do we feel about that one? Any questions on it? Do we? Good to-
I'll make a motion to approve. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The, volume 37, second reading.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Sorry.
I did not hear that.
part. No,
Sorry.
Sorry.
Ms. Bartram made a motion to approve the volume 37, number 2 of the second reading, seconded by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor?
Aye.
We have another policy review update. That is volume 36, number 1 for the first reading.
Motion to approve the second reading.
I second that.
Okay. All right. So the motion made by Mr. Van Dyne and seconded by Ms. Smith to move volume 36, number 1 to a second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
I do not show anything for unfinished business. Do you have anything? I don't. Okay. All right, so then that leads us into board comments. My board comments were to thank our maintenance staff for all their hard work over the last, well, just not summer, but the last week on getting the flooding. Thank you for our administration for coming in, pushing water, helping fix things. I know you were here, so Brian, I know Mr. Marford and his son came in. And I know many others came, I don't know who exactly, but we had a lot of staff, so thank you, all of you guys, for taking time to make sure our kids made it back to school. I also was gonna do a shout out to Mr. Halloran because way to go to keep athletics moving. We didn't disrupt any of the kids, because it is important. We want them to get back to the swing of it. They're students, they don't understand, so that's the one thing they look for is their athletics and academics, but athletics. So kudos to Mr. Halloran for working with Earl and making that happen for our kiddos, so.
I have a comment. I was impressed with this community's schools working together, helping Western Wayne, Centerville, all of those, everybody jumping in together. I think that's awesome for our area.
Everyone puts everything aside and makes it important.
Yeah.
I always say, Wayne County is special. It's very special. I mean, we may be competitors on the field, but when it comes to academics, when it comes to our students, Wayne County superintendents, all school systems they're on the same page. So they want the best for our kids. I agree with that. Any other board comments?
Welcome back to school.
The only last one I have is there is a town council meeting in Fountain City at 7:00. So if you're not planning on attending, you should attend. We need
Tonight?
Yes, that's where I'm going next.
Okay.
So if you know what situation.
And it's located,
In Fountain City, at the town council office, beside the fire department. Okay. 315 West Main Street, I don't know, something like that. But anyways, so that's coming up next. That's big for our community. I mean, these are our kids. They're playing on this playground. They are in that park, so we need to be taking care of our community. Any other comments? How about employee comments?
There's a game Friday. First game! Earl's really nice. I will say it was very nice last week, and we helped with concessions, and they have a really good field. So it'll be nice.
All right. I mean, if no one else has anything else to talk about, who wants to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Smith to adjourn, seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.